Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're taking a completely visual journey straight into the mechanics of machine learning. We hear so much about AI making decisions, but it usually just feels like a giant black box. What is actually going on in there? Well, today, we're going to peel back the curtain. We're breaking down one of the most foundational algorithms out there, the decision tree. Get ready to watch raw numbers physically snap apart, sort themselves, and transform into a life-saving automated decision. Let's get into it. So let's kick things off with a pretty big question. How does a computer actually think like a doctor to diagnose a patient? Just imagine an algorithm acting as a digital diagnostician, right? It's looking at a patient's symptoms, checking their genetic markers, and ultimately making a highly critical, almost human-like medical decision. Sounds incredibly complex. But as we're going to see visually, it's actually built on a really elegant logical progression of simple yes or no questions. To pull this off, the computer uses what's called a decision tree. Now, the textbook definition is that it's a flowchart-like algorithm that recursively partitions data based on feature values to make a prediction. Okay, kind of a mouthful, right? Honestly, just think of it as a highly structured game of 20 questions. We are going to completely demystify this. We'll physically follow a mixed group of patients and watch their data get filtered through this funnel of yes or no questions step by step until everyone is perfectly sorted.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. Meet the decision tree. 2. Building the patient classifier. 3. Splitting the data. 4. The math behind the split. 5. Reaching a diagnosis. And finally, 6. Pruning for better results.
All right, Section 1. Meet the decision tree. Notice how this model physically mirrors human reasoning, just, flipped upside down. At the very top, you've got your single starting point, the root. From there, the paths branch downward into what we call internal nodes, splintering over and over again until they hit these dead-end endpoints at the very bottom. We call those leaves. It's basically taking a massive, messy decision and pulling it apart into a highly visual, logical series of forks in the road.
Moving on to Section 2. Building the patient classifier.
Okay, so here is the raw material we're feeding into our algorithm. Over on the left, you'll see our patient samples. C stands for a patient with cancer, and NC stands for a non-cancer patient. Then, right across the top, we have 5 genetic mutations labeled M1 through M5. The ones indicate a positive mutation, and the zeros mean it's negative. Right now, this is just a rigid, mixed block of data. Our goal here is to literally shatter this table, pour the rows into the very top of our tree, and let the algorithm physically sort them all out.
Which brings us to Section 3, splitting the data.
Let's actually map out the physical flow of this. Step 1. The entire block of cancer and non-cancer patients pools together at the root node. The algorithm evaluates a mutation, asking something like, hey, does this patient have mutation M1? Then, Step 2, the data physically fractures based on the answer, sliding down into smaller internal nodes. And finally, Step 3, this recursive partitioning, this splitting, just keeps happening until the data gets trapped at a leaf node, uniform enough to make a final prediction. You can actually visualize that movement in action. The algorithm asks its very first question, and instantly, the data fractures. The patients who tested positive for the mutation, like patient C2 from our table, are peeled right away from the main block. Just imagine their data rows literally sliding down the true branch, becoming completely isolated from the rest of the group.
And at the exact same millisecond, the patients without the mutation, the ones carrying a 0 in that specific column, they get siphoned off down the false branch. So that original chaotic grid of cancer and non-cancer patients, it's been physically severed into 2 slightly more organized, smaller clusters that are now moving further down the funnel.
Next up, Section 4, the math behind the split. Now, you might be wondering, how did the tree actually know to split on OM1 first? Well, it uses 2 concepts, entropy and information gain. Think of entropy as visual messiness. When our patients pooled at the root node, it was just a chaotic swirl of different colors. Entropy was at its absolute maximum. Information gain, on the other hand, is the mathematical filter that reduces that chaos. The algorithm actually runs a rapid simulation on every single mutation column, calculating which split will give us the purest single-color clusters. Whichever mutation drastically reduces the color mixing the most wins the right to be the decision role. Let's go to Section 5, reaching a diagnosis. Look at how this architecture deepens. The groups we just split might still have a little entropy, maybe a few stray colors mixed in. So the algorithm recalculates the information gain all over again and fractures the data once more, pushing it further down the branches. This cascading effect keeps happening until the data finally hits a dead end at the terminal leaves. Down here, the entropy is mathematically zero. The group is visually pure, which allows the computer to confidently slap a final label on them: cancer or non-cancer.
And finally, Section 6, pruning for better results.
Sometimes a tree memorizes the training data a little too perfectly, which we call overfitting. To fix an overfitted tree, we literally take out digital shears. We visually snip away those overly complex, microscopic branches at the very bottom. Now, by replacing those hyper-specific subtrees with simpler, broader leaves, we might sacrifice a tiny fraction of accuracy on our original table, but it makes the overall tree immensely more robust for diagnosing brand new patients who walk through the clinic doors. Actually, we can also prevent the tree from overgrowing from the very start by programming strict stopping criteria into the algorithm. This is called pre-pruning. We can tell the computer, hey, stop growing if the tree hits a maximum depth, or stop splitting if a node has too few patient data points left inside it, or even stop if the information gain from the next split is just too small to even be worth it. These rules act as physical guardrails, really ensuring our model remains an elegant, readable, and highly accurate flowchart. So, we've watched a rigid, chaotic grid of numbers physically fracture, cascade down branches, and get mathematically color-sorted into a clean, life-saving diagnosis. It really leaves us with a powerful thought. If a machine can visually untangle complex genetic data this elegantly, what other incredibly complex human decisions could a simple decision tree untangle next? The applications for interpretable machine learning are literally boundless. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring the data.